Assalamu alaikum everybody. Our lesson today is talking about lines and the relationship between the lines. Firstly, let's remember what did we take before for the lines: line segment, point, and ray. Then after that we'll go to the lines. So firstly, guys, let's see what is shown here. For the first thing, of course, everybody knows that this one is going to be a line. So what is the name of that term, of that geometric term? Of course, it's going to be line. The second one, which has one arrow, which goes on and on in one direction only, exactly will be ray. The third term, which is that one which has two end points, okay, will be exactly a line segment. And the last one, which is what, which is an exact location in the space, which is going to be point. Okay, so let's, if I say it, describe what is shown here. So if there's something shown like that one, a line here and has two letters on it, what is the name of this shape, or what is the name of this figure, what is the name of this geometric term? Of course, it's gonna be line. But how to name this line? As I said to you, you can name any line using any 2 points on it. So we can name this line as line AB. So this line will be line AB. If I wanna label this line, I'm gonna draw a small line up and put the two letters on the line under that small line, which will be line AB. Okay. What about the other one, which is called, of course, point? How to name this point? As I said to you, using its letter, which is C here. So this point will be point C. Okay, guys. Okay. After that, do we have to learn in this video? There are two parts we have to know in this video. Firstly, types of lines. Secondly, how to draw types of lines. So firstly, I want you to know how to identify types of lines, then how to draw types of lines. First, types of lines, guys. How many types of lines here? There are three types of lines here. The first types of lines will be parallel lines. The second one will be perpendicular lines. The third one will be intersecting lines. Firstly, let's see what is the meaning of parallel lines. What is the definition of the parallel lines? Firstly, what are the parallel lines, guys? The parallel lines are pair of lines that run in the same direction. Two lines together never intersect, never meet, never touch each other. So if there are two lines never touch each other, never intersect, never cut each other, will be called as parallel lines, like those two lines which is shown here. Those two lines, which is line AB and the other line which is CD, or exactly looks like the symbol equal. This is gonna be parallel lines exactly. So what is the name of those two lines together will be called as parallel lines, because those two lines never intersect, never meet, never cut each other. Okay, so those two lines will be called as parallel lines. If I want to write that the first line is parallel to the other line, or the first line, which is line AB, parallel to the other line, which is line CD, I'm going to write it like that, which is AB, and put two lines which refers to the parallel lines, then put also CD. So here I'm going to read it as AB parallel to line CD. Okay, let's take more examples for the parallel lines, like the sides of the road. The sides of the road, guys, of course, never intersect, never meet. If the sides of the road will intersect, of course, an accident will be happened. So though the sides of that road, of course, are parallel lines. What else, guys? Like the railway, of course, also will be parallel lines. The sides of the railway also will be parallel lines, because if they intersect, if they are meeting in a point, of course, an accident will be happened, or the train will be fault. Okay, so as I said to you again, what are the parallel lines? The parallel lines are two lines never intersect, never meet. Okay, after that, which is called intersecting lines. What about intersecting lines? Two lines are intersecting with each other, or touch each other in a point, or cut each other in a point, like letter X, or like multiply. Okay, so firstly, intersecting lines are a pair of lines that intersect, meet, or cut each other in a point, like letter X, or like those two lines together, which are intersecting in a point, which are meeting in a point, Those two lines are called intersecting lines. How to write the line B intersecting to the is intersecting with the other line ACT? Only I'm gonna write it like that, AB, and put letter X. This letter X refers to the intersecting lines, and put TS. So that means AB, line AB, is intersecting with the line TS. So those two lines are intersecting, and I can remember that symbol multiply or symbol time refers to the intersecting lines which are meeting in a point, which are touching each other in a point. Okay. The third one, or firstly, let's take more examples about intersecting lines. Exactly like that sign. Here it's crossing roads. Okay. Also like the blades of the scissor, which is that one also. The blades of the scissor make an intersecting lines, exactly. And like those two roads, if they are crossing each other, also will be intersecting lines or intersecting roads here. Okay. Third, the third part, which is called perpendicular lines. Again, perpendicular lines. Say it again with me. Perpendicular lines. So which is going to be perpendicular lines. What about perpendicular lines, guys? Perpendicular lines are two lines, are also intersecting lines, but they are making right angles. Exactly like which symbol? Exactly like symbol plus. So remember perpendicular lines as plus. Two lines making something like plus exactly will be perpendicular lines. So let's see the definition of the perpendicular now. What are the perpendicular lines, guys? Are pair of intersecting lines. So the perpendicular can be intersecting lines that run in the different directions, touch one another to make right angles. So what is the condition of the perpendicular lines? They must make right angles. Yes. So the perpendicular lines are intersecting, but they must make right angles. So if the intersecting lines are not forming right angles, will not be perpendicular. Okay. So I want you to put in your mind something, guys. I want you, firstly, let's see what are the perpendicular lines, which is exactly like that figure. The two lines are making something like plus and are forming right angle, which is that small square here. So those two lines are called what? Are called perpendicular lines. Okay. As I said to you now, that the perpendicular lines can be intersecting because those two lines are cutting each other, are meeting in a point exactly. So the perpendicular lines can be intersecting lines, but the intersecting lines cannot be perpendicular lines. They can be if they are making right angles, but if they are not making right angles, of course the intersecting will not be perpendicular. Okay. How to write that one? How to write that the line AB perpendicular to the other line, which is YH? First, those angles are perpendicular. Those lines are perpendicular. How to write them now? I can write the line AB, which is perpendicular to a line YH. Only I'm gonna write that symbol, which is opposite of letter T. Okay. Only just flip letter T like that. This symbol refers to the perpendicular lines. So those two lines are perpendicular. As I said to again, how to know the perpendicular lines? Only if they are making something like plus. They are forming right angles. Okay. Also like that shape here. This one also perpendicular lines. Also like that, like plus, or like that symbol, also will be perpendicular lines because they are making right angles, or it's exactly like plus. Okay. After that, also like here, like that window, like the lines in that window, also all of those lines are perpendicular. They are making right angles together. So again, let's remind you, what about the parallel lines, guys? Which is exactly like equals. So remember now, the parallel lines like equals, which is that one, of course, will be parallel lines. Okay. The other one, which is exactly like letter X or like multiply, will be intersecting lines. If those intersecting lines are making right angle or making something like plus, like which is shown here, will be perpendicular lines. Okay. The first question, he said, what geometric term could you use to describe the top and bottom edges of the book? The top and the edge of the top and the bottom of the book. How to describe those two lines? Yes, the top side of the book and the bottom side of the book, or the top and the bottom edges of the book. Of course, those two lines never intersect, never meet. So those two lines will be, yes, exactly, will be parallel lines, because they never intersect, they never meet. Question 2, what pair of lines looks like the blades of the scissor? As I said to you, exactly which will be intersecting lines. Okay, so it depends on how far the scissors are open. Yes. Question 3, he said from question 3 to 6, use the diagram on the right to answer those questions. Firstly, in question 3, he said name 4 points. As I said to you, how to name a point only is an exact location in the space, and in that diagram, there are 4 points shown here, which is point W, which is point X, point Y, point Z. So how many points here are shown here? 4 points. Of course, in those lines, there are many points, but which is shown here only 4 points. So I'm going to write those 4 points, which is point W, point X, point Y, point Z. Question 4, he said name 4 lines. How many lines are shown here? There are 4 lines are shown here. Okay. Firstly, the line. As I said to you before, how to name a line? I can name a line using 2 letters on it or 2 points on it. So there is a first line which is horizontal, which is line WX. Okay. The other line which is also horizontal would be YZ, and there are 2 lines vertical which are XZ and the line WY. Okay. Okay. Question 5, he said name 2 pairs of parallel lines. As I said to you, what about the parallel lines again, guys? The parallel lines looks like equals. Okay. Yo, that means 2 lines never intersect or never meet. Here in that diagram, in that shape, in that figure, there are 2 pairs of parallel lines. What is the first pair of parallel lines? Yes, which is line WX and line YZ. WX and YZ, yes, exactly, they never intersect, they never meet. So those 2 lines will be parallel. So the first pair of parallel lines will be WX and YZ. The other pair, yes, exactly, which are vertical lines, which is XZ, line XZ, and line YZ. So what are the pairs of parallel lines? WY and XZ are parallel, and the other lines WX and YZ also are parallel. Okay. Question 6, name 2 pairs of perpendicular lines. Again, what did I say for perpendicular lines? Perpendicular lines are making right angles. Okay. Okay. Also, which is exactly like plus. Like which 2 lines here? Yes, like line XZ with line WX. Do you see line XZ and WX are intersecting lines, are meeting in a point, but they are forming right angle. So those 2 lines will be perpendicular. There are many perpendicular lines, but only I need 2. Only only I need 2 pairs of parallel of perpendicular lines. And also, of course, there are many here. So the first one, WY and WX. WY and WX are forming right angles. Okay, and WX and XZ also are forming right angles. YZ and WY also are forming right angles. XZ and YZ also are forming right angles. So all of those lines will be perpendicular lines. Okay. Here, question 7, he said for 7 to 12, use geometric terms to describe what is shown, be as specific as possible. Question 7, everybody knows that. Those 2 lines are exactly parallel lines. Question 8, exactly, everybody knows that this one will be perpendicular, but as I said to you before, that the perpendicular lines can be intersecting. So those 2 lines, I can say that those 2 lines are perpendicular lines and also are intersecting lines. Yes, question 9. Yes, it is so easy. It's point, exactly. Question 10, of course, 2 roads are crossing each other, but they are making right angles, so will be intersecting roads or intersecting lines and perpendicular lines because they are making right angles. Question 11, of course, is clear, which will be parallel lines. Of course, question 12 only will be intersecting lines, not perpendicular, because they are not making right angles. Those roads are not making right angles. To draw perpendicular lines, intersecting lines, parallel lines. As I said to you, perpendicular like plus, intersecting like multiply, parallel lines like equal. So let's draw the perpendicular, then the intersecting, then the parallel lines, and that's our lesson today. And see you later, guys. Thank you so much.